Hi, welcome to Echoes of Home. This is Kelly.
And I'm Erin.
We are launching our season 2 today. This will be episode 1 for season 2. We are going to sort of give you guys an update of where we're at and where we were in the previous season. And then we're going to transcend into, we're just going to dabble a little and give you an idea of where we're going in season 2 with topics like grief, motherhood, midlife, and all of the experiences that I think are really alive for both of us right now. In season 2, we are planning to dive a little bit more into spirituality. We may even do a mini series on yoga and interview different teachers and different individuals' yogic journey and spiritual journey. Mm-hmm. And last season we did a lot around psychology, emotional intelligence, relational psychology. And so we want to mix it up a little bit more and not be so psychology heavy this time around. Although that is a big part of who we are and how we move through the world. There is so much more to both of us and to our lives. So where do you feel like you are now, Erin, compared to the main batch of what we filmed in season 1, what I'm calling season 1, was mostly filmed in January, but we did film a couple sprinkled in recently that we put in as our intro episode. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's May.
Yeah.
About to be June.
Yeah.
And we filmed those almost 11 episodes. I think 9 of those episodes were filmed in January. Mm-hmm. And it's a whole other environment. You might even hear these cicadas lightly in the background here.
They are definitely present, making their presence known.
20-something years or something they've been underground.
17, I think.
I've heard all the numbers. 7,
Oh,
17,
really?
27.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, other than the significant shift of season and our surroundings, which spring and summer has been huge for us here in Asheville and recovering from Hurricane Helene. But yeah, those episodes that we filmed in January were actually a huge lifeline for me. I feel like personally, I was kind of drowning a bit in the winter blues and just going through the motions with my job. And then just at the beginning of May, I quit my corporate job. So that I am in transition with. I'm feeling upside down and topsy-turvy and not quite sure which way is up or what my North Star is yet. But I'm really trying to embrace the unknown and finding my footing right now. But it was a big leap of faith, and it feels like definitely the right thing for me. So yeah, I think that, again, recording and talking about these themes in our lives and processing stuff together is going to be a huge lifeline for me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
This is like our passion project, and I don't have a hard time yet. Even though last time we did it in batches where we filmed 2 or 3 a week, I don't know what we're going to do this time around. But thus far, I don't feel overwhelmed or reluctant to film these. It feels really fun and exciting doing this on the side of all the other things that are going on.
Yeah.
For me, obviously, the seasons were, I think, with Hurricane Helene, it was so much. I feel like this winter was epic. I was also going through a separation. Started right around the time of Hurricane Helene, and I'm technically still legally separated. I think that's a lot of why some of the content there's a lot of relational reflections happening.
Yeah.
In the last season, and now I'm in transition in all the ways. Again, I was in transition then, and I'm sort of now in a transition that I didn't expect. Whereas the last transition into separation was like a really long time coming. So I too feel a little like I'm on a roller coaster and I'm just trying to put my hands up. Which is not something that I typically will do on a roller coaster. I don't let go.
Yeah.
So, surrender.
Don't let go.
So, yeah, I mean, we just had Mother's Day.
We just had Mother's Day, yeah.
And then, you know, one of the things we were maybe talking about today, which we're going to hit on at least, is midlife crisis. And it's funny, I saw a study somewhere on social media the other day that said the new midlife crisis is signing up for like an endurance sport, like a marathon. It's not necessarily the sports car or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're in a midlife crisis?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's significant. I can definitely it's helpful to refer back to my quarter life crisis, because I definitely had one of those as well. And then there's like the whole Saturn return phase as well. We have chartered the territory of having children in marriage, and we're, in it, out of it, whatever the current status is, but we have experienced it. And I think just in general in life, you're at this place where you're like, okay, I'm in it, I'm experiencing it. This isn't what I expected, or here are the things that I wasn't expecting. And it's like the day-to-day, live your life, the mundane of it all, the repetition of it all, and how you're showing up. And then I think having the experience of our parents be the age that they're at, and then our children, watching our children grow and time pass with that, that whole aging thing becomes a lot more real. And you realize like, oh shit, you might have some difference in your physical experience, but it's not going to really be that much longer until we're, in our 50s or 60s or 70s, like we're seeing with our parents. And I think that's where that like endurance sport stuff comes in. It's like, okay, what can I still do with this physical experience?
Yeah,
like what's still in
now?
Me? Yeah.
I want to use what I have now. And I think it's like we get to this certain number, whatever the number is for each individual, and it's like, oh shit. And all of a sudden time starts to feel like it's passing really quickly.
Yeah.
We've done all the things that we're supposed to do, that we should do. We've gone to college. We've gotten our first jobs. We've established a career. We got married. We had a child. And now
what?
Whether the marriage has dissolved or not, the children are still around, or the career is still around in some form or fashion. It may have taken 3 or 4 different shapes at this point.
Yeah.
Or even more. Who knows? Everybody's path is different. And then it's like, yeah, but I want fucking more. That was supposed to be it. That was all.
Well, that's all we were ever really like, I don't want to say taught to think about, but when you're a kid, especially as a woman, and you're dreaming, at least for me, about your life, I think I went into details around like what my home would look like, or what my children would be like, or stuff like that. But then that's it. That's it. I don't think we really ever explored like, what will my relationship with myself look like?
Yeah.
What does my daily routine look like? And so I think it's interesting because, there's like the internal work, and then there's like the external validation. I think external validation is a big pattern of mine. And it's like, I am told, or I hear like in midlife is when you really stop giving a shit about what other people think of you.
Yeah.
And like, that's kind of the freedom in it. But at the same time, while that's an old pattern that may be releasing slowly, you're still looking around. Okay, well, what's going on? Like, what are other people doing? What works? What doesn't? Like, where am I in the mix of all of this?
Still data mining.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's this idea that we were sold this story of like, this is all the things that you need to do, especially as a woman. I think, I'm pulling from maybe some Instagram reels I saw lately, and also I started watching that reality show, The Mormon Wives.
Oh, yeah.
The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Yeah.
And they are at the very beginning talking about it from, you know, in their religion it's a little bit different. But they're sold this story, like, these are all the things that you do. And as women, we do this in different forms or fashions. And then we get there and then we're like, yeah, but I want more.
And they're sowing their wild oats while being married and having small children, which
I don't have the energy for that. But I guess that's why they have children earlier. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there around midlife for sure. And obviously something very present for both of us.
Yeah, like I have all the things, and like, let's also make a point for like privilege and several different forms of privilege, but one that's standing out to me right now is like, you know, the generations that came before us. You know, they taught us or told us to do the things this way because that was the greatest expression from their perspective.
Yeah.
And now I really do believe that ancestrally we've gotten to a certain place to some, you know, financial security from an economy standpoint. And now we as a generation have a little more space in our lives to grow and heal in the ways that our parents didn't have time or headspace to dive into. So I think that's why, like, for us, it's like maybe it's an extra midlife crisis, an extra layer, because we are a generation that's so deeply in tune with our emotions and with self-care and health, wellness, all the things. And of course, that's the layer that's coming up now. Like, I want more out of life. I want, like, were boomers talking about purpose?
Right.
I don't really think so.
Yeah.
For the most part, as a generalization.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about, you know, fulfillment in this really deep way that we're desiring within ourselves and how we feel in our body, how we feel in our day-to-day. What do we do with our time? How precious time is.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge component too to like the aging process.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people really aged quite early, you know, bogged down by responsibility and the 9 to 5 and...
Well, their kids were going off to college now.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Leaving the nest.
Leaving the nest, yeah. And I think the idea of like fulfillment, the idea of value, where our value comes from, what's our purpose in life is much more prevalent because of the privilege that we experience, the freedoms.
Anyway, I think this is a great segue into the motherhood piece of this and the midlife threshold. We were talking earlier today about the maiden, not yet crone. So how does it go again?
Maiden, maid, which would be us.
Yeah.
Crone, because we're married and have had children. So I was like maiden. Oh, I was the matron of honor.
Oh, yeah.
At my friend's wedding. So
I mean,
maiden, matron.
I think that's part of my midlife crisis, is that like I'm deeply grieving. It's also part of motherhood. I'm having a child at this age, but I'm deeply grieving the parts of myself that are no longer, and trying to decide, because I can't hold on to all of them, which things I will hold on to.
Yeah.
But yet I can't fucking wait to be a crone.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not my experience.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, so you're still grieving the loss of the maiden. And
No,
I mean, I am too.
I feel like I have felt like I feel very, the maiden parts of myself I still feel are very alive. I think the parts that, like, I actually found an old laptop.
Oh, shit.
Because I've been cleaning out my closets and house and stuff.
Find a digital camera too with an SD card?
No digital camera, but it was all my digital photo uploads and like looking at pictures of myself, and I'm like, I'm better now. Like I figured a lot of stuff out, and I still feel like I you know, with my 40s, there's still more that I want to figure out and really get to the bottom of. But yeah, like the aliveness of my maidenhood is like just exploration and freedom and expression. And I feel like all of that is still very authentic for my experience now, outside of like after getting out of my marriage.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to talk about it more, but like, I'm not really grieving. I just have so much more now.
I think for me, sure, there's like the appearance. I feel like I looked a lot better in a lot of ways, not all the ways, but it's the freedom, the autonomy. Because, you know, I have a 2.5-year-old. You're a little more adjusted into being a mom than I am.
Yeah.
So, and my, you know, toddlers tend to be incredibly, well, all the children are high maintenance, but, you know, I am still trying to catch up to how my life has changed due to having a child.
Yeah, and that's ongoing. Yeah.
Yeah, and like what parts of myself, of my life, and the idea of my life, while I'm like incredibly fortunate in the amount of support that I have and time that I have and time for self-care and fitness and yoga and the capacity to do passion projects like this and work, I still just, I think also I'm an Aquarian.
Yeah.
Freedom and autonomy is such a huge thing for me. And I feel,
Yeah.
I love you, Marshall. That's my son. But I feel held back.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing for me too. Like, I can't just open my eyes in the morning and be like, what is it that I want to do today? Or what feels good? There's like a lot more responsibility. And then, you know, even simple things like, wow, a hike sounds like a really simple, great idea.
Let me just go for a hike today.
That's impossible to do with my child. Like, and any time that I've tried it and put a lot of effort into like making it fun, or it's hell. It's
and
like,
that's it. That's the grief of the motherhood part too. What I was processing on Mother's Day, like, okay, yeah, sure, I can go do these things with my fucking 2.5-year-old on a whim, but it makes there's so much more, there's suffering in what would have before been incredibly pleasurable.
Yeah.
And then that just creates this, so many times over and over that happens. And then there's like a letting go of this idea of how I used to live and move through the world, and grieving that I have to let that go. Nobody told me I had to let that go.
Yeah.
And now I'm letting that thing go, and I'm fucking raging about it a little bit. And I also have to move through that. And hold that and not take it out on my partner, my friend, my mother, my child, most importantly, when they are the cause of, you know, these huge changes.
Yeah. And there's definitely like deeper spiritual lessons in that, and having the capacity, which keeps coming up for me, but to like allow the child to just be the child without changing it. I mean, I've talked to many people about this, and some of them are just like, yeah, we just kept doing it. We never gave up on it. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Like I
don't have the capacity to do that.
Yeah. And so, but then at the same time, it's like, by not allowing my child to have their own experience, I'm also forfeiting my capacity to have my own experience as well.
Yeah.
So, that's very real. The reality of like a screaming, cranky, miserable kid on a hike is like not something I want to do again and again.
I know. And I mean, you could go into the conversation, is it better to have kids when you're super young and broke and you don't have your life together, or better to have them as people are mostly having them now, which is like, you know, in their mid 30s or whatever, and or 30s at least. And yeah, I mean, I do resent that. I like, that is an authentic share. I resent that. I do feel very healthy, and I do feel very inspired, and I do feel very aware and clear in my purpose in a way that I've never been. And I feel like I can't fully step into that. And I resent that I might be, you know, whatever, 18 years from now, however old that is, I'm not going to feel nearly as good, and I'm not going to have near the energy.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I will, but I'm not. I might be doing pretty well for that age bracket, and there's nothing I can do to change that.
Yeah.
And I just have to fucking surrender. And for me, that's crazy because I do have so much support and so much time alone and freedom alone, but it's like a smothering.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I feel.
Yeah.
Like trapped.
Yeah. Just to not have the freedom to pick up and go and move around as you'd like.
Yeah, like travel is such a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Just pick up, and then the idea, when someone said something to me the other day, it was just like, yeah, I'd like to spend about January, February, March in Costa Rica or traveling.
Yeah.
Well, now I have a child and I can do that, sure. That's its own hell.
Yeah.
But then I forgot. It was Travis at the pool the other day. He said, oh yeah, but once they're in school, you can't just take them out for 2 months. And that hadn't dawned on me yet.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? I can't survive the winters here anymore. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
18 more years of winters in this town where that's where, you know, my relationship status, I have to be in a dynamic where we can trade off and like,
yeah.
I can't, maybe I'll be able to afford to hire a nanny for 3 months, but that hurt. It's still, my son needs me more than that.
With my daughter, it's like, the picking up and going and the freedom, it's like constantly evaluating what her emotional well-being experience will be.
Yeah.
If I'm gone, if we were to relocate, and what a transition that is for children. Whereas I'm like, yep, midlife crisis, yep, like could be a good time, and yeah, so that's a tough one.
And I think for women especially, we have this special wound of, you know, the expectation that we put everybody before ourselves, that, you know, for the most of us and our friends, like, we're trying to heal that.
Yeah, and the amount of shit that we get when we talk about traveling.
Oh my God,
You're going again? You're going away again?
Yeah.
Oh, where's Cora going to be?
I mean, even when I was traveling when my son was 6 months old, they were like, oh, you left your baby at home for a week? And then the male gets, if the father is involved, gets all the props. Like, oh, what an amazing father. He can take care of his child for a week by themselves. Like, motherfucker, are you fucking kidding me? Do you get a gold medal?
Yeah.
And or mom the amount of gets fucking a bag of coal because she's in Paris or wherever the fuck we were, Provence, in May after her child was born in November.
Yep.
The amount of shit. And
comments and questions and something that hasn't really been my experience, but that I've witnessed in a lot of people close to me, is the grief of their children growing up. Yeah. So, like, I definitely have nostalgia. I mean, I'm a nostalgic person. I spend a lot of time thinking about the past, and but yeah, there is this, like, I miss my baby. Like, I can still see Cora's baby face in her now 8-year-old face, but like, I was with my friend just the other week. She has a 1 and a 3-year-old, and we were looking at them with my daughter all together. And I was like, yeah, that's going to be your son in 5 years. And she just started bawling, crying.
Oh.
And I've had other friends, like, every birthday that their children have, they just don't want them to grow up during even, like, postpartum, which I think this is completely normal, but, like, the 1 month mark, whatever, like, the different, you know, growth mark, whatever they're called, they would, like, just be so emotional. Like, I don't want them to get older. Yeah. I never really had that. I mean, I always kind of recognized their experience and tried to be as present with my experience as possible. And I think it's so true with mothering and raising kids. Like, the days are long and the years are short. That's definitely 100% true. But yeah, I think a lot of women also experience the grief of like wishing the time away, like wishing just to be easier, to be like able to do a girls' trip to the south of France.
And is
but
that
then,
it though?
At the same time, like being so sad that their child is getting older.
So is that where the grief comes from? Is that like they're wishing for the ease to get older, and then on the back end they feel like, oh shit, I'm so sad?
I don't know. I mean, I think it could also be, and I'll have to ask my friend to inquire about it. She actually just left for Bhutan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love Bhutan. I would love to go back.
But I wonder if there is a wrapping up of like the identity of like there's such an attachment to the baby's identity in them, and for them to change means we have to change too.
Yeah, it hasn't been my experience either. I've heard the commentary and the things people say, but I think like the baby years were so fucking hard for me.
Yeah.
I just was trying to move through it as quickly as possible. And the toddler years, like I have had moments of like, oh wow, he's getting so big. My toddler's potty training right now. And I'm like, you know, appreciating his cuteness and rocking him and calling him my baby.
Yeah.
And there's like a jog of like that, of like, okay, what is this going to feel like as he gets bigger and older? What's that experience going to be like?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Mm-hmm. But I don't have thus far like a grief or like, I look back at the photos and I look like, oh, it's cute and like whatever, or ugly, like, you know, when they look like old men early on, like anyway.
Yeah.
But it was such a hard time for me. I don't even think I realized how hard it was. I feel like I'm still recovering from the trauma of that time.
Yeah. Like I never really thought about what it would be like for me to have an 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old daughter. And so to really like, not that I can like manifest my child, but to become clear on what I want my relationship with her to feel like.
Yeah.
And what's like really coming up for me is in parenting is like all this healing from the way I was parented.
Yeah.
And so I think that is like the best thing that I can do is, especially like raising a daughter, because things are coming up with my mom, and it's like, it's just, I think I feel more, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but like purpose for me as a mother has become a lot more clear now. And I feel like is taking a much more concerted effort and front seat in my life of like my driving purpose is like, how am I going to show up as a mother during this phase? Because I just winged it when she was a baby. It just came very natural to me.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, this is hard, but like, this is what it looks like. I'm just going to go through the motions. And it was really easy for me to bond with her. It's now that I feel in my own like attachment style, I want to like retreat.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, this is the time I really have to lean in and get really clear and get excited about like what it is that an 8 to an 11-year-old girl, you know, can really like, we can offer each other in a parent-child relationship.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a perfect segue into the next little thing we want to tap in on is like, for me, as I hear you say that, I recognize my triggers in my scenario with my toddler. And it's like the overstimulation that really gets to me between like the dogs and just the mess. And, you know, there's constant talking and spinning like 3-4 plates at the same time, you know, cooking. The dog is barking, the UPS guy is coming, there's
Sure.
cartoons playing in the background, then like a smoothie spills, and you're in the middle of trying to read a recipe and like cook this dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my capacity to regulate myself in that is something I'm really working on, and
Same,
I'm
girl,
not
same.
doing a great job. And there is like this understanding of perimenopause and what's happening in our hormones, and like quick to anger, irritability, overstimulation, and rage.
Yep.
Like are all things I'm
Symptoms.
experiencing as a mother, and all symptoms of perimenopause.
Absolutely.
And I just had a kid 2.5 years ago where my hormones were all whacked.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, let's do that. Get you kind of like sort of baseline. Mm-hmm. And then, oh yeah, here you are, 36, 37, have a toddler, and start going through a hormonal shift where like you're combining mom rage and perimenopause rage. Mm-hmm. And, you know, try and have a marriage going on all at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to read that Suzanne Summers book that's been around for like 20 years.
I think my mom loved that book. What was it called? She loves Suzanne Summers.
But I love that everyone's talking about perimenopause right now. And I mean, there's so much more information coming out in the last few months than there ever has in decades.
Yeah. I feel like even from the time because I probably was like, so I was 32 when I had Cora. I was probably like 35, 36 when I went to that naturopathic doctor and had my hormones tested. And I feel like even since then, there's just so much more information, because I was diagnosed with hypercortisolism. But I feel like that
is connected
to
the
the
whole
cortisol element has definitely been a hot topic.
Yeah.
But now it's like really being linked to perimenopause.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes into this where we started, like the maiden maid, and then crone.
Something I'm learning about older women. To the men who are confused, she gave her body to birth your children. She gave her dreams to build your home. She gave her youth to nurture your future. Now she's in a season that nobody warned her about, a season where her hormones feel like strangers. Her body feels foreign. Her emotions are louder. She doesn't recognize herself, and neither do you. But this is not the time to back away. This is the time to lean in harder. Menopause and perimenopause aren't just mood swings or hot flashes. It's a sacred metamorphosis. She's becoming someone new, wiser, wilder, more powerful than ever, if she's supported, if she's not abandoned in the fire. Some men take her struggle as a sign to leave. Real men see it as a summons to rise. You prayed for a queen. Don't walk away when she's finally stepping into her throne. Hold her, champion her, love her, even when she pushes you away. Because if you do, you won't just get your woman back. You'll meet the most radiant, awakened version of her you've ever known. This is not her end. It's her becoming. Have the courage to stay for the masterpiece in progress.
That's it. So I think becoming is such a beautiful way to talk about everything we're talking about today. And like midlife is about becoming.
Yeah.
Perimenopause is about becoming.
Yeah.
Transitioning through motherhood is about becoming. Mm-hmm. And that really moves me. What a beautiful way to hold the process in like a sacred transformation.
Yeah. And I think, you know, similar to what I was saying about like those parts of motherhood or like those future relationships, like focusing on the becoming makes it, and that transition and what we want it to look like gives us a lot more power into like what that is going to look like for us, not for our mothers, not for our grandmothers, not for our friends, but like what that is for me. So I know I've been resistant to it, but like coming
just
into
a little bit
understanding this perimenopause is like, this is a becoming, like this is a transition, this is a change, but do I want to show up in resistance and negligence, or do I want to show up in like awareness and like, you know, kind of get my voice in there a little bit of like, this is how I want to show up.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both want to show up in awareness. And I think in order to do, as far as the negligence part, like in order to do that, it's almost like grieving that there is a grief process in this becoming. Like,
of course.
We feel tired that we even have to go through this grief of what we're, you know, putting down and what we're becoming, or the hardships of it.
Yeah.
Like, that really stands true and resonates for me, is grieving the grief. Well, I've had a lot of grief in my life. We'll talk about that more. I think I've talked about it a little in season 1, but grief. The grief of motherhood, the grief in perimenopause, the grief of transition.
Absolutely.
Like, even in midlife, like there are parts, midlife crisis, that we are putting down.
Yeah.
And things that we don't even have control to put down. It's taken.
Yeah.
And that's the same for motherhood and perimenopause too.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like there's grief stored in your body ever? And if so, how do you release it?
Yeah, so I've been dealing with, I've been thinking about it in a couple different ways, but basically the transitional seasons are hard on my body. So that just made a connection there. So the end of spring into summer, it shows up in my body. It has the past couple of years in like really sore feet and legs. So mostly in my joints, and then in the fall, from summer to fall, it's in my shoulders, and that shows up as like tendinitis. So I have been thinking about this, and like I was reflecting on my parents, specifically my dad, because he was an athlete, and he has like a very strong physical practice, always has, and but my father is like incredibly resistant to change. He takes the same supplements as he did
50 years ago,
probably.
Still manufacture those?
Yeah. He's a Shackley. I don't know if you've ever, but it's like one of the first multi-level marketing companies. But he does the same stretches, same routine, same exercises, all of it. Eats the same foods, and he has a lot of stiffness and body pain, and it made me reflect on, I definitely feel like being someone who struggles with anger and has quite a bit of rage.
Yeah.
Some of that doesn't quite belong to me from this lifetime.
Sure.
Some of it was passed on to me from my ancestors.
Yeah.
And so, yes. And being someone who's like kind of becoming super obsessed with fascia and fascial work and the lymph system, it's like, oh, you know, like these are things that are all connected. And so, with your encouragement, I did schedule that somatic therapy session. Amazing. Which this will be my second. But I definitely think grief is stored in the body for sure. Yeah. And, you know, as I'm working through some of my perimenopausal symptoms, which a lot is around, most of it is around my energy levels and feeling really low, the voice inside me is saying, push through it, keep going, push through it, keep going. And I think that's just the way I've always functioned. Yeah. It's really hard for me to not listen to that voice or the other voice that shows up when I do stop and slow down. So yeah, that's definitely, I feel like I've stored a lot. And then just feeling this in my body this week with my ex coming into town. Yeah. Feels very present as well, because there's a lot of anger and there's a lot of grief from that whole situation. Yeah, you know, it makes me think about my father, who died of duodenum cancer, which is the area, I think, from the stomach to the pancreas. It's like this little duct area. So his pancreas was almost like pancreatic cancer. So pancreas, liver, all of that. I mean, it had metastasized everywhere, but
I think there's so much repressed emotion, and you
Oh,
can
yeah.
look up in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, like which organs store what
For sure.
emotion, and then like the gallbladder line,
Yeah.
the different meridians across our body. But I think what I've experienced the same thing. Like I definitely know that there's ancestral stuff in my body. I threw my back out last fall. What is that? Is that all? Is that what happens as we age? Is that the human experience?
Is that the human experience to process things through a lens?
To feel affected by the layers of grief that just kind of keep getting added to the table, into the loss and the major experiences that we have, that we start to collect. We create like a collection of
Well, I feel it's like
traumas.
I feel like it's learning
heartache.
to have a relationship with grief.
Yeah.
Like, what is my relationship with grief going to look like?
Well, my relationship with grief is that I'm grieving the fact that I have so much of it.
Yeah.
Because I feel tired. I've been grieving so hard for so long.
Yeah.
I feel like, man, like, is the grief ever going to slow down? Do I get like a grief break?
Sure. Yeah. Well, and I think you also have to look at like what is causing the grief within you. Like, what is it about? I mean, obviously, we're not the cause of all of our grief, for sure. These are things that happen to outside of us, beyond our control. And I think that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
It's like what you can't do anything
Surrendering
about.
to this like flow of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, it's like finding the balance. It's like holding the grief over here in one hand, and then also holding the hope and the faith of joy, in joy in the other.
Gratitude.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, to bring it back to the topic, because I certainly don't have any answers for this, but just, how we store it in our body, and I think how it seeps in, and I think how it can really affect our thinking about, how we approach our day to day. Like, are we coming from a place of grief, or are we coming from a place of gratitude?
Yeah.
And holding the space for the grief while holding out for the capacity to experience more joy, because
we can't bypass it.
No.
And I think that's like what some of the generations before were doing with all of this stuff. Like there was a lot of bypassing of, and not talking about, and just like shove down all these different emotional experiences. And so, it is a balance of making space for it, and not clinging to it either.
And I was just thinking when I was getting ready to come here, this is also like one of the most frustrating parts for me about being a woman is because like we're always fluctuating with it. Yeah. Like not to, I'm just, some days I'm like riding high, other days I'm like, who was that? I have no idea, and it's all like just how I process things and my thoughts but like how I'm feeling, like how I'm really feeling, it just changes so often.
Yeah. I mean, it's like for me, it's like 7 days of like riding high. Yeah. 7 days of like, meh. Yeah. I feel a little annoyed by that. Yeah. 7 days of like, fucking A, like all of y'all get away, leave me alone, fuck you, fuck you. Let me just be alone, let me be by myself. Yeah. And then like 6 days of like, I'm so tired.
I really don't feel like I have a consistent 7 days at all. But it's also very frustrating that we are on opposite ends.
Well, sometimes we sync up, and then sometimes we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
great.
It's hard to get a grasp on it all, And I think a lot of this podcast and kind of our tone and our intention for it is not to come to the table with answers, but more just share our experiences.
Yeah, I think that's the idea, is like, which we talked about a little bit last season, is like
The power of vulnerability.
The power of vulnerability, the power of what it is to sit with sisters and brothers.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily need, this isn't like a women's thing.
Yeah.
And share an experience and connect through shared experience and learn from one another's experience.
Absolutely.
We always took that away in women's circles. And I think that's the intention of what we're trying to put out into the world now.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think grief, I mean, that's something, I know we want to go more into like spirituality and yoga and themes. I'm not too familiar with yoga breaking into grief much, but I think it's definitely something for us to explore more.
Some of our, I've learned so much through yoga, but I've also forgotten so much.
Oh, yeah.
I've been studying it for like 20 years. Like, I would love to circle back, and I'm sure there's something about grief in there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, this was lovely. I'm excited for this season.
I know, season 2.
Season 2. Real Housewives of Asheville coming at you.
Echoes of home. We're coming for you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.